All right, let's just jump right in. We spend so much of our lives online, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about how much of that digital life you actually own, or how much you really control? Well, today, we're looking at a company that wants to completely change the answer to that question. And we're not talking about just adding another lock to your digital front door. This is about building a whole new house on your own private land.
It seems like a simple question, doesn't it? Is your digital life truly private? When you send that message or save that file, it feels like a private moment. A direct exchange between you and maybe one other person. But is it really?
And this is the core of the problem. What you think is private, your DMs, your files in the cloud, even your digital payments, they don't just live on your device. No way. They actually live on third-party servers, they travel across the wide-open public internet, and they're stored in these gigantic centralized databases owned by massive corporations. The bottom line is, you don't control the infrastructure, so you don't truly control your data.
And if that wasn't enough, there's a huge new threat on the horizon. A ticking clock, really. I'm talking about quantum computers. These things will have so much power they can literally shatter the encryption we use for everything today. I mean everything, from your bank account to top government secrets. So the security we think we have right now, it's not just kind of fragile, it's temporary. So this is where the whole approach just flips. Instead of constantly trying to patch up the leaky public internet, what if we just built something else entirely? A private alternative designed for real security from the very first brick.
Think about it like this. The internet is like a massive public highway system. Most cybersecurity companies are focused on building stronger cars or adding better locks to those cars. ENTIFY's approach is totally different. It's like building a completely private road network from scratch, where only pre-authorized vehicles are even allowed to get on the road in the first place.
And that leads to their core promise, right here. Security you control, networks you own, trust you can verify. This is so important. It's not about just trusting some big tech company. It's about creating a system where you are the one in control, you own the network, and trust isn't just a marketing slogan, it's something you can physically and cryptographically prove for yourself.
So, the big question is, how does this all actually work? Well, it's not just some clever piece of software. The entire system, the whole shebang, is built on a foundation of dedicated physical hardware. That's what creates this new layer of trust.
The whole philosophy boils down to a pretty simple but really powerful formula. To get total security, you have to control three things: the physical devices in your hands, your cryptographic identity that proves you're you, and the private network that they all operate on. And this is where that security becomes something tangible, something you can actually hold. Your identity isn't just a password anymore. It's a physical key card, the ENT card, built with future-proof post-quantum cryptography. Your access point is this tiny pocket-sized device called the mini-ENT. And the network itself, well, that's created by these dedicated mesh routers that can operate completely off-grid, totally independent of the public internet.
Now, when you put all that hardware together, look at what you get. You get a system that's already resilient against quantum computers. The hardware is tamper-proof. Your identity is permanent. It works even if the global internet goes down. And because you and other users are the ones running the hardware, it's completely decentralized. There's no single server to hack, no central company to control it all.
Okay, so this technology is obviously incredibly powerful, but who's it for? Is this just for spies and secret government agencies? Or can regular people like you and me use it? Well, turns out the answer is both, just in different ways.
They basically have a two-pronged approach. For big organizations, ENTIFY builds custom private networks. Think about a huge corporation that needs a 100% secure way for its employees to communicate. Then, for the rest of us, there's the sovereign network. This is their big project for individuals, and it offers amazing things like a private identity that doesn't require any know-your-customer paperwork, where you have to send your passport to some company. It even has its own private digital cache that only works inside this secure ecosystem.
For those organizations, the use cases are absolutely critical. We're talking about businesses that simply cannot afford a data leak, or that need their own private financial systems, or even companies that have operations in super remote places with zero internet access. This technology basically builds their entire secure digital world for them.
All of this, everything we've talked about, for both the big companies and for individuals, it all boils down to one single core concept. It's the ultimate goal of the entire system, and that is achieving true digital sovereignty. And how do you get there?
It's through these three core non-negotiable design principles. 1. Security is tied to your physical identity, not a password someone can guess. 2. Privacy isn't an option you turn on. It's the default, because you're on a totally separate network. And 3. Trust is based in the hardware you can physically hold in your hand, not on a vague promise from a company server thousands of miles away.
And that right there, that is what digital sovereignty is. It's the end game. It's not about just using a service. It's about owning the entire system. It's about having a digital life that you and you alone control and operate with complete and total independence.
So, at the end of the day, it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. In a world where our data is basically a product, and our security is built on these shaky, centralized systems, the choice is becoming a lot clearer. Do you want to keep operating inside someone else's network, playing by their rules, or are you ready to build your own?